The conversation happened in the kitchen. That's what I remember most. Not the words themselves, though those burned into my memory like a brand, but the setting. The familiar kitchen where I'd eaten breakfast as a kid, where Mom had taught me to scramble eggs, where we'd gathered for every holiday meal for 28 years. The kitchen where my mother told me I wasn't pretty enough to stand next to my brother on his wedding day. She didn't say it like that, of course. Mom never says things directly when she can wrap them in cotton candy and pretend they taste sweet. "We need to talk about the wedding," she said, glancing at Dad, who suddenly became very interested in his coffee mug. I'd just arrived at their house for Sunday dinner, still had my coat on. My brother Ethan's wedding was 3 weeks away, and I'd assumed this was about groomsman duties, bachelor party planning, maybe, or helping set up the venue. "Sure," I said. "What's up?" Mom's smile was the kind that doesn't reach the eyes, the kind she uses when she's about to say something she knows will hurt, but has convinced herself is necessary. "We need the family photos to look perfect." I waited, didn't understand yet where this was going. And Ethan and Madison have been working so hard on their aesthetic. Everything coordinated. The colors, the styling, even the wedding party. It's all very curated. "Okay," I said slowly. "And we think—" She glanced at Dad again. He still wouldn't look at me. "We think it would be better if you weren't in the immediate family photos." The words didn't land at first. I heard them, but they didn't make sense, like someone speaking English but arranging the words wrong. "What?" "It's not personal," she said quickly. "It's just that Ethan wants everything to look cohesive, and you're different from Ethan and Vivian." Vivian, my sister, the beautiful one. "Different how?" I asked, even though I knew, had always known. Mom's eyes flicked down, then back up, taking in my body, my face, my existence, and finding it lacking in that single glance. "You understand." I did understand. That was the worst part. I understood that my brother and sister looked like they'd stepped out of a catalog. Ethan with his sharp jaw and athletic build, Vivian with her model cheekbones and effortless elegance. They were the kind of siblings who got stopped on the street, who got compliments from strangers, who'd grown up hearing, "You should be in magazines." Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. And then there was me. Average height, average build, a face that was neither handsome nor ugly, just unremarkable. The kind of person who blends into the background of every photo, who gets described as nice because there's nothing else distinctive to say. "So I'm not aesthetic enough," I said flatly. "Don't say it like that." "How should I say it?" "It's not about you, it's about the overall look. Of the photos, I'm not pretty enough to be in." "You're being dramatic," Dad said, finally speaking. "Your mother's trying to respect your brother's wishes. It's his wedding. He gets to decide what he wants." "Does he?" I looked between them. "Did Ethan ask for this, or did you two suggest it?" Neither of them answered. That's when I knew. This hadn't come from Ethan. This was my parents trying to protect their image, making sure the wedding photos showed off their beautiful children without the reminder that they had also produced someone ordinary. "What exactly do you want me to do?" I asked. "Not come to the wedding?" "Of course not," Mom said, horrified. "You're still family. You'll still be at the ceremony, at the reception. You'll just step aside for the formal portraits, the ones that will be framed and displayed." "The ones people will actually see," I finished. That's not what I... "That's exactly what you said." I looked at my father. He was still staring at his coffee. Couldn't even meet my eyes while my mother told me I wasn't good-looking enough to stand next to my own siblings. "I need to go," I said. "We haven't even had dinner. I'm not hungry anymore." I turned and walked out. Heard Mom call after me, Dad say something about, "Don't be difficult," but I didn't stop. Got in my car. Drove home in a fog. It wasn't until I was sitting in my apartment, staring at my phone, that I started to process what had actually happened. My family didn't want me in the wedding photos, because I wasn't attractive enough, because my face didn't fit their aesthetic. I pulled up Instagram, looked at Vivian's feed, perfectly curated photos of her perfect life. Then Ethan's, fitness photos, couple shots with Madison, carefully styled images that looked like they belonged in an influencer's portfolio. Then I looked at my own feed. Sparse. Mostly reposts of articles, a few vacation photos, nothing special. I'd never cared about Instagram, never tried to build a brand or cultivate an image, but apparently my family had been cultivating an image, and I wasn't part of it. I scrolled back through old family photos. Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday parties, and I saw it now, the pattern I'd somehow missed. In almost every photo, I was in the back row, or on the end, or slightly out of frame. In the photos where I was prominent, the ones where I stood front and center, my mother hadn't posted them. They existed on someone else's Facebook page, tagged but not shared. The photos she displayed, the ones on her living room wall, were the ones where Ethan and Vivian shone. Where I was either absent or so far in the background I might as well be furniture. I'd thought it was random, thought it was just how photos worked out. But it wasn't random, it was deliberate. They'd been editing me out of the family portrait for years. I grabbed my phone, opened the family group chat, the Andersons, Mom had named it, with a little house emoji. My last message was from 2 days ago. See you Sunday. Ethan had sent a message this morning. 3 weeks, getting so excited. Vivian. Can't wait to stand next to the most handsome groom. My little brother grew up. Madison. Counting down the days. Mom. So proud of my beautiful family. I stared at that message. My beautiful family. I wasn't part of the beautiful family. I was the asterisk, the footnote, the one they loved but didn't want seen. I typed, Congrats, Ethan. Wishing you both all the best. Then I clicked on my name at the top of the chat. Found the option to leave the group, hovered over it. My thumb shook slightly. Then I clicked it. You have left the Andersons. I blocked the group chat. Then I went to my settings and turned off read receipts, turned off my location sharing, turned off every setting that would let my family track me or see if I'd received their messages. Then I opened a browser and started searching for places to go. Places far from here. Places where nobody knew me or my family or cared what I looked like in photos. I found a cabin in the mountains, 3 hours away. No cell service, just woods and silence and a fireplace. I booked it for the weekend of the wedding. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. I couldn't sleep, lay in bed staring at the ceiling, watching the shadows from the streetlight outside shift across the plaster. My mind kept pulling up memories, things I'd buried, dismissed, written off as not important. But now, with Mom's words echoing in my head, we need the family photos to look perfect, every memory came back with new context, new meaning. I was 7 years old at Vivian's dance recital. She was 9, performing in the Nutcracker. Mom had spent weeks fussing over her costume, her hair, her makeup. Vivian looked like a little princess, all pink tulle and glitter. After the show, everyone gathered for photos. The dance teacher wanted pictures of all the performers with their families. Michael, sweetie, can you stand behind Vivian? Mom said, positioning me. We want to see her costume. I stood behind my sister. The photographer snapped a few shots, then Mom pulled me aside. Actually, honey, why don't you go get us some water? I think Vivian's thirsty. I went to find water. When I came back, they were still taking photos. Without me. I handed Vivian the water bottle. She didn't say thank you, just took a sip and handed it back. Later, Mom framed one of those photos. Vivian in her costume, Mom and Dad on either side, both beaming with pride. I wasn't in it. When I asked why, Mom said, "Oh, you were getting water, remember? But don't worry, we have other photos with you." We didn't, or if we did, they never got framed. I was 12 at Ethan's soccer championship game. Ethan scored the winning goal. The whole team rushed him, celebrating. Parents flooded onto the field with cameras. I ran out too, excited for my brother. Wanted to congratulate him. "Michael," Dad's voice stopped me. "Stay off the field. You'll be in everyone's way." I stopped at the edge of the grass, watched as Mom and Dad joined the celebration, as Vivian hugged Ethan, as the photographer Dad had hired snapped dozens of photos. I stood on the sideline, alone. Later, Dad showed me the photos. The team photo, Ethan holding the trophy, our family surrounding him. Mom, Dad, Vivian. Everyone's faces glowing with joy. "Great game, right?" Dad said, scrolling through. "Yeah," I said, "great." "Wish you'd been in some of these shots," he said absently. "But you were hanging back, so—" I'd been hanging back because he'd told me to stay off the field, but I didn't say that, just nodded. I was 16 at a family reunion. Distant relatives I barely knew, cousins I saw once every few years, the whole family gathering at a park for our annual summer picnic. Someone's aunt, I can't remember whose, was organizing a big group photo. All the Anderson family together. Everyone gathered around. I squeezed in between Ethan and one of my cousins. The aunt looked through the camera, frowned. "It's not quite balanced. Can someone—" "Michael, honey, you're tall. Can you stand in the back row?" I moved to the back. Actually, she said, maybe stand behind that tree. You're casting a shadow. I moved behind the tree. When the photo was taken, I was partially obscured, just my shoulder and part of my face visible behind a trunk. Nobody asked me to move. Nobody adjusted the shot. Later, that photo made it onto the family website that someone's uncle maintained. The caption, Anderson Family Reunion 2014, 3 generations together. I was the shadow behind the tree. I was 19 at Vivian's college graduation. She'd graduated summa cum laude from a prestigious university, double major in marketing and communications. Mom and Dad were beyond proud, throwing her a big celebration party. They'd hired a professional photographer for the event. Not just someone with a nice camera, an actual professional who did graduation portraits and family sessions. We want these to be magazine quality, Mom said. This is such a milestone. The photographer took hundreds of shots. Vivian in her cap and gown, Vivian with her diploma, Vivian with Mom and Dad, Vivian with her friends, Vivian alone, looking contemplative and accomplished. Let's get some family shots, the photographer said. We gathered together. Mom, Dad, Vivian in the center, Ethan and me on either side. The photographer looked through the viewfinder, adjusted his settings. Can we try a few different arrangements? Of course, Mom said. Ethan, you stand next to Vivian, parents on the other side. Michael, you can stand. He looked around. Maybe on the end? I moved to the end. We took several shots. Then the photographer said, let's try one with just the parents and the graduate. Classic portrait. I stepped aside. Then, how about just the siblings? Ethan and Vivian posed together. Both tall, both photogenic, both looking like they'd stepped out of a Gap ad. Perfect, the photographer said. These are going to be beautiful. I stood to the side, watching. Nobody suggested a photo of me with Vivian. Nobody asked for one with just the brothers. Nobody seemed to notice I was there. At the end of the session, Mom thanked the photographer. These are going to be wonderful. We'll definitely display them. She did. The one of just Vivian went in the living room. The one of Ethan and Vivian together went in the hallway. The one of the whole family, with me on the far end, slightly out of focus, went in the upstairs bathroom. The only place people would see it was when they were using the toilet. I was 23 at Ethan's graduation from law school. Another celebration, another photographer, another round of carefully arranged portraits. By this point, I knew the drill. I stayed on the edges, smiled when appropriate, didn't ask to be included in photos, didn't expect to be. When someone suggested a siblings shot, I automatically started to move aside. Where are you going? Ethan asked. I thought, just you and Vivian. Don't be stupid. Get over here. So I did. Stood between my brother and sister, feeling awkward and out of place, like a before photo sandwiched between two afters. The photographer took the shot. Later, Mom printed it, but she never framed it, said she couldn't find the right spot. The photo of just Ethan in his law school regalia went on the mantel. I was 25 at my own college graduation. I'd finished my degree in accounting. It had taken me longer than most. I'd worked full-time while going to school part-time, couldn't afford to not work, but I'd done it. Graduated, earned my degree. Mom and Dad came to the ceremony. So did Vivian and Ethan. A full family showing, which surprised me. We're so proud of you, Mom said, hugging me after I walked across the stage. Thanks, Mom. Let's get some photos. We took a few selfies on her phone. Quick shots, casual, no professional photographer this time, no carefully arranged portraits. This is great, Mom said. We should get dinner to celebrate. We went to Applebee's. It was nice, low-key, the kind of celebration I'd expected, but I couldn't help noticing the difference. Vivian's graduation had been a catered party with 100 guests. Ethan's had been a sit-down dinner at an expensive steakhouse. Mine was chain restaurant appetizers and everyone splitting the bill. You must be relieved to be done, Dad said. Yeah, feels good. Now you can focus on your career. Really get serious about it. I'd been working in accounting for 3 years already. But sure, now I could get serious. What are your plans? Vivian asked. Same job. Maybe look for promotions, save up for a house eventually. That's nice, she said in a tone that implied it was decidedly not nice. Vivian worked in marketing for a tech startup, made twice what I did, lived in a trendy loft downtown. Very practical, Ethan added. He'd just accepted a position at a prestigious law firm, starting salary higher than I'd probably ever make. Someone has to be practical, I said, trying to make it a joke. Nobody laughed. We finished dinner. Mom posted one of the selfies on Facebook. So proud of all my kids. Michael graduated today. The post got 43 likes. When Vivian had graduated, Mom's post got over 200. When Ethan graduated law school, it got 350. I told myself it didn't matter, that social media likes weren't real, that Mom was proud of me regardless of the numbers. But I knew the truth. I'd never been the child they bragged about, never been the one they showed off. I was the one they loved. I believed that, at least most of the time. But I wasn't the one they were proud to display. And now, with Ethan's wedding coming up, they were making it official. I wasn't aesthetic enough for the family photos. I'd never been aesthetic enough. They just finally said it out loud. Monday morning, I woke up to 17 text messages. Didn't open them. Knew who they were from, knew what they'd say. Instead, I got up, made coffee, went through my normal routine, shower, dress for work, toast with peanut butter because I couldn't be bothered with anything more complicated. My phone kept buzzing. I left it on the counter and went to work. The office was quiet. Monday mornings always were. I had a corner cubicle in the accounting department, a space I'd personalized with exactly nothing. No photos, no plants, no motivational posters. Just a computer, a desk lamp, and a coffee mug that said "World's Okayest Accountant" that someone had given me as a Secret Santa gift. I logged in, checked my email, started working through the spreadsheets that had been waiting since Friday. My phone was in my desk drawer, still buzzing periodically. At lunch, I finally looked. 29 messages in the family group chat I'd left. Apparently leaving didn't stop them from continuing the thread. It just meant I couldn't respond. I could still see the messages, though. They'd transitioned from confusion to concern to irritation to anger. Mom, Michael left the chat? Why? Ethan, did something happen? Vivian, he's probably just being dramatic. Mom, Michael, if you're reading this, please respond. Dad, this is childish. Ethan, seriously, what's going on? Mom, we need to talk about this. Vivian, he's probably upset about the photos thing. Mom, that's ridiculous. We explained that very reasonably. Ethan, what photos thing? There was a long pause in the messages. Then, Mom, it's nothing, just a small thing about the wedding arrangements. Ethan, what thing? Dad, your mother just suggested Michael might be more comfortable not being in all of the formal portraits. Ethan, why would he be more comfortable with that? Nobody answered that. Then Vivian, because the wedding party is all very styled and coordinated and Michael doesn't really fit that vibe? Ethan, what the fuck does that mean? I'd rarely seen Ethan swear in the family chat. Mom had rules about language. Mom, Ethan, please? Ethan, no, seriously. What does that mean? Vivian, it means we all know Michael isn't exactly GQ material, and maybe it's better if the photos focus on people who actually photograph well. My chest tightened, reading that. My sister had just called me ugly. In writing, in the family group chat. Ethan, are you fucking kidding me? Madison, wait, what's happening? Ethan, apparently my family told my brother he's not good-looking enough to be in my wedding photos. Madison, what? Mom, that is not what we said. Dad, we were just trying to be practical. Ethan, practical about what? Dad, about the aesthetic of the photos. Ethan, I don't care about the aesthetic. Mom, well, you should. These photos will be displayed for the rest of your life. Ethan, and my brother should be in them? Vivian, he will be, just not in all of them. Ethan, why not? Vivian, because honestly, Ethan, you and Madison are gorgeous, and the wedding party is gorgeous, and the photos are going to be incredible. Having Michael front and center is just going to make it look unbalanced. I stopped reading. Closed the chat. Put my phone face down on my desk. Sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. My sister thought I was so ugly that I'd ruin wedding photos just by being visible. My mother agreed with her. My father thought this was practical. And Ethan, to his credit, Ethan was defending me, but he was also getting married in 3 weeks. Would he really fight his entire family over this? Or would he eventually give in, agree that maybe it was easier to just keep me out of the formal shots? I opened my browser, went to the website for the mountain cabin I'd bookmarked. The place was perfect, isolated, no Wi-Fi, no cell service, just woods and a river and complete silence. I checked the availability calendar. The wedding weekend was open. I booked it, 3 nights, Friday through Monday. I'd leave Friday morning, miss the rehearsal dinner, miss the ceremony, miss the reception, miss all of it. The confirmation email arrived in my inbox. Booking confirmed, mountain cabin retreat. I took a screenshot, sent it to myself as a reminder. Then I deleted the email. Didn't want anyone finding it if they decided to go through my things looking for me. Then I went back to work, finished my spreadsheets, attended my meetings, did my job like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. For the first time in my life, I was choosing myself over my family. That evening, someone knocked on my apartment door. I'd just gotten home from work. Still had my shoes on, was about to start dinner. I looked through the peephole. Ethan. I considered not answering, but he'd seen my car in the parking lot. Knew I was home. I opened the door. "Hey," he said. "Hey, can I come in?" I stepped aside. He walked in, looked around my apartment like he'd never seen it before, which was almost true. He'd only been here twice. Once when I'd first moved in, once when he'd needed to store some furniture temporarily. "Nice place," he said, which was a lie. It was a generic one-bedroom apartment in a generic complex. Nothing special about it. "Thanks." We stood in awkward silence. "I'm sorry," Ethan finally said. "About what Mom and Vivian said. What they've been saying. It's not okay." "It's fine." "It's not fine. It's fucked up." I shrugged, didn't know what to say. "You're my brother," Ethan said. "You should be in every photo. You should be a groomsman. I should have asked you to be a groomsman." "Why didn't you?" He looked uncomfortable. "Madison and I wanted to keep the wedding party even. Same number on each side. And she has 4 bridesmaids, and I could only think of 3 guys I was close enough with to ask." "You couldn't think of your brother?" "It's not that I couldn't think of you. It's just, we're not that close. We haven't been for a while." He was right. We weren't close. Hadn't been since we were kids. We'd grown up in the same house, but lived different lives. Different interests, different friends, different everything. Still hurt to hear him say it, though. "But you should still be in the photos," Ethan continued. "All of them. And I'm going to tell Mom and Vivian that." "Don't." "What?" "Don't fight them over this. It's your wedding. You should have the photos you want." "I want you in them." "Do you? Or do you want to be the good guy who stood up for his brother?" Ethan flinched. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? You didn't ask me to be a groomsman. You didn't notice when Mom started arranging me out of photos years ago. You didn't say anything when Vivian made comments about how I looked. But now, suddenly, when it's obvious in public, now you care? I've always cared. You've always ignored it. There's a difference. I'm trying to fix it now. I don't want you to fix it." "What do you want?" I looked at my brother, really looked at him, saw the face that belonged on magazine covers, the body that belonged in gyms, the confidence that belonged to someone who'd never been told to step aside so the photos would look better. "I want you to have a great wedding," I said. "I want you to be happy. I want your photos to look perfect." "You're coming, though, right?" I didn't answer. "Michael, you're coming to the wedding." "I'll think about it." "What does that mean?" "It means I'll think about it." Ethan stared at me. "Mom and Dad are going to lose their shit if you don't come." They should have thought of that before they told me I wasn't aesthetic enough. They didn't mean it like... How did they mean it? He didn't have an answer. "I need you to leave," I said. "Michael, please, just leave." He hesitated, then nodded, walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. "I do want you there," he said, "for what it's worth." "Thanks." He left. I stood in my apartment, alone, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. I pulled out my phone, looked at the screenshot of the cabin booking. 3 weeks. 3 weeks until I disappeared. The morning of the rehearsal dinner, I woke up at 5 a.m., threw my pre-packed bag into my car, clothes, books, enough food for 3 days, a bottle of whiskey I'd bought specifically for this trip. Drove out of the city while it was still dark, while the roads were empty, while my phone was still silent. The drive took 4 hours. Winding mountain roads, tiny towns I'd never heard of, scenery that got progressively more beautiful and isolated. By the time I reached the cabin, my phone had lost service completely. No bars, no Wi-Fi, just a little no-service indicator in the corner of the screen. Perfect. The cabin was exactly as advertised, small but cozy, 1 bedroom, a kitchen with a wood-burning stove, a porch overlooking a river that rushed over rocks and fallen logs. I unpacked, lit a fire even though it wasn't that cold. Poured myself a drink, even though it was only 10 a.m. Sat on the porch and listened to the water. My family would be gathering for the rehearsal dinner soon. They'd notice I wasn't there, would probably try to call, but they wouldn't reach me. For the first time in my life, I was unreachable, and it felt like freedom. Meanwhile, 200 miles away, the rehearsal dinner was at an upscale restaurant downtown. Private room, predetermined menu, carefully curated guest list of immediate family and wedding party. Mom had arrived early to make sure everything was perfect. Dad was schmoozing with Madison's parents. Vivian was taking photos of the table settings for her Instagram. Ethan kept checking his phone. "Has anyone heard from Michael?" he asked for the third time. "He's probably just running late," Mom said, though her voice was tight. "He's not answering his phone." "Well, he'll be here soon. Don't worry about it." But an hour later, Michael's seat was still empty. Madison's parents kept glancing at it, whispering to each other. "Should we start without him?" Dad suggested. "Absolutely not," Ethan said. "He's family. We wait." They waited. 30 minutes, then an hour. Ethan called Michael's phone, straight to voicemail. "Where is he?" Mom's voice had gone from tight to sharp. "I don't know." Vivian checked Michael's social media. Nothing. No posts, no updates, no indication of where he was or what he was doing. "This is ridiculous," she said. "He's clearly making a point." "What point?" Madison asked. "About the photos. He's being petty." "Maybe something happened," Dad said. "Maybe his car broke down." "His phone wouldn't go straight to voicemail if his car broke down," Ethan pointed out. Mom called, Dad called, Vivian texted. Nothing. Finally, 2 hours after the scheduled start time, the restaurant manager approached apologetically. "I'm sorry, but we really need to begin service. The kitchen staff—" "Fine," Ethan said, though he was clearly not fine. "Let's just start." They ate dinner with Michael's empty chair sitting there, a ghost at the table, a reminder that something was wrong. Madison's mother leaned over to her husband and whispered, "Is this family always this dramatic?" Madison heard, felt her face burn with embarrassment. The ceremony was at 2 p.m. Saturday, an outdoor venue with mountain views and carefully arranged flowers and seating for 150 guests. The photographer arrived at 11 a.m. to start getting prep shots. The bridal suite, the groomsman getting ready, the mother of the bride crying happily. "Are we doing family photos before the ceremony?" the photographer asked. "Yes," Mom said. "We want to get those done early so we're not rushed later." "Perfect. Can you gather all the immediate family? Mom, Dad, Vivian, all present?" "And the other son?" the photographer asked, checking his shot list. "He's not here yet," Mom said. "Is he running late?" "We're not sure." The photographer frowned. "We're on a pretty tight schedule. If he's not here by noon, we might have to skip the family formals until after the ceremony." "He'll be here," Mom said firmly. He wasn't. By noon, Ethan was pacing. "Where the fuck is he?" "Language," Mom hissed. "I don't care about language. My brother is missing." "He's not missing. He's choosing not to be here. There's a difference." "Why would he choose that?" Mom and Dad exchanged a look. "We may have had a misunderstanding," Dad said carefully. "What kind of misunderstanding?" Before they could answer, the wedding coordinator appeared. "We need to start getting people seated. The ceremony begins in 45 minutes. "We're still missing. I know, but we have to proceed. Can you be ready in 15 minutes? Ethan looked at his phone, checked it one more time for a message from Michael that hadn't come. "Yeah," he said finally. "We'll be ready." The ceremony proceeded without Michael. Guests whispered. Family members noticed the empty seat in the front row. Madison's great-aunt, who had no filter, asked loudly, "Where's the other son?" "He couldn't make it," Mom said through a smile so forced it looked painful. "Why not?" "He's under the weather." "For a wedding? His own brother's wedding?" Mom didn't respond, just turned back to face the altar where Ethan stood, looking more stressed than any groom should look on his wedding day. The ceremony was beautiful. Madison looked stunning. The vows were touching. The music was perfect. But Ethan kept glancing at that empty seat, at the space where his brother should have been. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," the applause was enthusiastic. But Ethan's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. The reception was where things started to unravel. The photographer wanted family photos. "Let's do these while the light is still good." Everyone gathered. Mom, Dad, Vivian, Ethan, Madison, Madison's parents and siblings. "Beautiful," the photographer said, clicking away. Now let's do one with just the groom's family. Mom, Dad, Vivian, and Ethan posed together. The photographer looked through his viewfinder, adjusted some settings, frowned. Is this everyone? Yes, Mom said. The shot list shows 4 children, 3 siblings. Silence. The other son couldn't make it, Dad said. Oh. The photographer looked genuinely sympathetic. That's too bad. These photos are going to look a bit unbalanced without him. Mom's smile turned to stone. It's fine, she said coldly. Just take the photo. He did. But he was right. The photo looked wrong. 3 people where there should have been 4. An obvious gap in the composition. Let me try a different arrangement, the photographer said, clearly trying to salvage it. They rearranged, took more photos, tried different poses. Every single one looked incomplete. Finally, the photographer said, I'll see what I can do in editing. Thank you, Mom said tightly. They moved on to other photos. The bride's family, perfectly balanced, everyone present. The wedding party, coordinated, styled, everyone matching Madison's carefully curated aesthetic. And then, because the universe has a sense of humor, Great Aunt Linda approached with her iPad. I wanted to show you something, she said to Ethan. Remember your cousin Rebecca's wedding last year? I was looking at the photos and... She pulled up a photo. The whole extended family gathered together. Everyone smiling, including Michael, standing right there next to Ethan. You boys looked so handsome together, Linda said. Brothers. Where is Michael, anyway? I wanted to say hello. He couldn't make it, Ethan said, his voice flat. What? Why not? He's not feeling well. Oh no, is it serious? I don't know. Well, did you visit him? Bring him soup? I don't know where he is. Linda blinked. You don't know where your brother is? No. On your wedding day? No. Linda looked between Ethan and his parents. Did something happen? It's complicated, Mom said. Complicated how? Linda, please. Did you fight? Did he fight with someone? It's none of your business, Vivian snapped. He's my nephew. Of course it's my business. What did you do to that poor boy? We didn't do anything. Then why isn't he here? Nobody had an answer. Linda shook her head. This family, she muttered, always so concerned with appearances. Did it ever occur to you that the most important appearance is showing up for each other? She walked away, iPad in hand, leaving uncomfortable silence behind her. Madison pulled Ethan aside an hour into the reception. What's going on with your brother? She asked. I don't know. Did you two have a fight? Not exactly. Then what? Ethan sighed, looked around to make sure no one was listening. My parents told him he wasn't aesthetic enough to be in the wedding photos, so he left. Madison stared at him. They said what? That he didn't fit the aesthetic, that the photos needed to look perfect. And you didn't tell me this? I didn't know until a few days ago. And you didn't think to mention it? I was trying to fix it. By letting your brother skip your wedding? I didn't think he'd actually... You didn't think, Madison interrupted. That's the problem. You didn't think about how hurt he must have been, how humiliated. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like your family cares more about Instagram photos than actual relationships. That's not fair. Your mother told your brother he was too ugly for family photos. How is that fair? Ethan didn't have an answer. Madison looked at him, really looked at him, and something in her expression cracked. I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to be honest. Okay. Did you want him in the photos? Of course. No, not of course. Did you actually want him in the photos, or were you just okay with excluding him because it made things easier? Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, couldn't answer. Because the truth was, the truth he didn't want to admit, he had been okay with it. Not happy about it, but okay. Had told himself it was Mom's decision, that it wasn't his fault, that Michael would understand. But Michael hadn't understood, and now he was gone. I fucked up, Ethan said quietly. Yeah, Madison said. You did. By the end of the night, the whispers had spread. Guests asking where the brother was, family members speculating, friends confused about the empty seat at the family table. Mom tried to maintain the facade, smiled for photos, thanked people for coming, pretended everything was perfect. But her smile had cracks in it. Her voice had an edge. When someone asked, Where's Michael? For the 20th time, she finally snapped, He chose not to attend, that's all. But why? Because he's selfish and dramatic and couldn't handle a simple request. The guest backed away, clearly uncomfortable. Vivian, overhearing, hurried over. Mom, you need to calm down. I am calm. You're not. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene. Your brother is the one making a scene by not showing up. Keep your voice down. Why should I? He's the one who should be embarrassed, not me. Mom? We bent over backwards for him. We tried to accommodate his shortcomings. And this is how he repays us? Several guests were staring now. Dad appeared, took Mom by the arm. Let's get some air. I don't need air. Yes, you do. He steered her outside. Vivian followed, trying to run damage control with the guests who'd witnessed the outburst. Madison watched it all from across the room, turned to Ethan. Your family is a disaster, she said. I know. We need to find your brother, apologize, fix this. He doesn't want to be found. How do you know? Because he's been planning this. I can tell. He didn't just skip the wedding on impulse. He wanted to disappear. So let him stay disappeared? What else can I do? Madison shook her head. Figure it out. Because I'm not spending the rest of my life at family dinners with people who treat each other like this. She walked away, leaving Ethan standing alone at his own wedding reception, realizing that in trying to keep the peace, he'd lost his brother, and maybe his wife's respect, too. Sunday morning, I woke to birdsong and sunlight streaming through the cabin windows. No alarm, no stress. Just natural waking at 8:30 a.m., body finally relaxed enough to sleep properly. I made coffee on the wood stove, real coffee, the kind you make in a pot, grounds floating on top, rich and bitter and perfect. Sat on the porch with my mug and watched the river. Wondered distantly how the wedding had gone. But I didn't turn on my phone to find out. Not yet. I spent the morning reading, made eggs for lunch, went for a hike along the river trail, finding a waterfall I hadn't known was there. Around 2 p.m., curiosity got the better of me. I climbed to the highest point on the property, a rocky outcrop that overlooked the valley, and pulled out my phone. Held it up, 1 bar of service, barely. I turned off airplane mode and waited. The phone came alive like something possessed. Notifications cascaded down the screen, so many that the phone froze for a moment, struggling to load them all. 67 missed calls, text messages, 99 plus voicemails, 23 emails, 47 Instagram DMs, 15 I stared at the numbers, 67 calls, 67 times someone in my family had tried to reach me, or had needed something from me, had expected me to answer. I scrolled through the call log. Mom. 29 calls. Dad, 18 calls Ethan, 11 calls Vivian, 5 calls Madison, 4 calls. Then a bunch of extended family, cousins, aunts, Uncle Rick, who I hadn't spoken to in 3 years. I opened the texts. Friday night. Mom. Michael, where are you? The rehearsal dinner is starting. Mom. We're waiting for you. Mom. This isn't funny. Mom. Call me immediately. Ethan. Dude, where are you? Ethan. Everyone's asking about you. Ethan. Please just respond. Dad. Your mother is very upset. Dad. You need to call us. Vivian. Are you seriously doing this? Vivian. You're ruining everything. Saturday morning. Mom. Michael, please. Whatever you're upset about, we can talk about it after the wedding. Just come today, please. Ethan. I don't know what happened, but I need you here. You're my brother. Madison? Michael, this is Madison. I don't know what's going on between you and your family, but today is really important. Please come. Saturday afternoon. Mom. The ceremony is starting. Your seat is empty. Everyone is asking where you are. Dad. This is unacceptable behavior, Ethan. Where the fuck are you? Vivian. You're an asshole, you know that? Saturday evening. Mom. The wedding is over. You missed it. I hope you're proud of yourself. Ethan. I just got married and my brother wasn't there. Thanks for that. Dad. We need to have a serious conversation when you decide to resurface. Madison. Your brother is devastated. I hope whatever point you're making was worth it. Sunday morning. Mom. Call me. Mom. I know you're seeing these. Mom. You're tearing this family apart. Ethan. Are you okay? Like actually okay? I'm getting worried now. Dad. If you don't respond by end of day, we're calling the police. I read through them all, every single message, every escalation from confusion to anger to worry to fury, and I felt nothing. No guilt, no regret, no urge to respond and reassure them I was fine. They'd spend my entire life making me feel invisible, making me stand aside so the photos would look better, treating me like a problem to be managed rather than a person to be loved. And now, when I actually was invisible, they panicked. Not because they missed me, because they needed me to fill a role, to be present so they could pretend everything was fine. Well, everything wasn't fine. I checked the voicemails, didn't listen to most of them, just saw the timestamps and names. But I listened to one. From Ethan, sent Saturday night at 11:47 p.m. His voice was thick, like he'd been drinking. Or crying. Maybe both. I don't know if you're going to get this. I don't even know if you're okay. But I got married today, and you weren't there. And everyone kept asking where you were, and I didn't know what to tell them. Madison's pissed at me. Mom's having a meltdown. Dad's pretending nothing's wrong. Vivian's making it all about herself. And you're just gone. He paused. I could hear music in the background. The reception, probably winding down. I know what they said to you. About the photos, about not being aesthetic enough. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you. I'm sorry I didn't tell them that was fucked up. I'm sorry I let them make you feel like you don't belong in our family. Another pause. Longer this time. You do belong. You're my brother. And I should have said that earlier. Before all this. But I didn't. And now you're not here. And I don't know how to fix it. His voice cracked. Just call me. Please. Let me know you're okay. The voicemail ended. I stood on that rocky outcrop, phone in hand, wind blowing through the trees. I could call him back. Could end this right now. Could tell him I was fine. I just needed space. I'd be back soon. Could let them all off the hook. But I didn't want to. Not yet. I scrolled through to Madison's text. Opened the conversation. Madison. Michael, I don't know you very well, but I need you to know that what your family did was wrong. Ethan told me everything. About the photos, about them excluding you. It's horrible, and I'm sorry. Then, hours later. Madison. Your brother just spent his wedding day apologizing to guests for your absence. This isn't fair to him. I stared at that message. Not fair to him? Was it fair to me to be told I wasn't pretty enough for family photos? Was it fair to me to be edited out of the family portrait my entire life? But I was supposed to show up anyway because it was Ethan's day? I typed a response. Tell Ethan I'm fine. I just needed some space. Hit send before I could second guess it. The message showed delivered. Then immediately, read. 3 dots appeared. Madison was typing. Madison. Where are you? Me. Away. Madison. Are you coming back? Me. Eventually. Madison. When? Me. When I'm ready. Madison. Everyone's worried. Me. They'll survive. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, Madison. I understand why you left. I'm not asking you to come back for your parents. But Ethan is really hurt. He misses you. Me. He had his whole wedding without me. He'll be fine. Madison. He's not fine. He's devastated. Me. Then maybe he should have thought about that before he was okay with excluding me from photos. Madison. He wasn't okay with it. Me. He didn't stop it either. No response for a long time. Then, Madison. You're right, and he knows that now. But punishing him doesn't fix anything. Me. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not participating. Madison. In what? Me. In being the family member who shows up, who helps, who stands aside, who makes everything easier for everyone else while being told I'm not good enough to be seen. Madison. Nobody thinks you're not good enough. Me. My mother literally told me I wasn't aesthetic enough for wedding photos. Madison. And she was wrong. Me. But she said it, and everyone else let her. A long pause. Then, Madison. I'm going to tell you something Ethan doesn't know. I know. Your mom tried to talk me into having only Vivian as a family representative in our wedding party. Said it would be cleaner aesthetically to have one sibling on each side. I read that twice. Me. What did you say? Madison. I said no. I said if Ethan's family was going to be represented, all of his family would be represented. That's when she suggested the photo thing. Said maybe you could still attend, but just not be prominent in pictures. Me. And Ethan knew about this? Madison. Not until after they'd already talked to you. He was furious when he found out. But by then, the damage was done. I sat down on a rock, processed this information. My mother had been trying to exclude me from the wedding for months. It wasn't a last-minute thing. It was a deliberate, ongoing campaign to minimize my presence. Me. Why are you telling me this? Madison. Because you deserve to know, and because I think you should talk to Ethan. Hear his side. Me. I don't want to hear his side, Madison. Why not? Me. Because it doesn't change anything. He still let it happen. Madison. He's still your brother. Me. Family is supposed to make you feel like you belong, not like you're a flaw they need to hide. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, Madison. I can't argue with that. I put my phone away, hiked back down to the cabin, poured myself a whiskey, and decided not to go home. Not yet. Monday afternoon, I finally composed a group text. Not to the family chat. I'd left that and didn't plan on rejoining, but to a new thread, one I controlled. Recipients: Mom, Dad, Ethan, Vivian. I wrote and deleted the message 6 times before settling on something simple. I'm fine. I needed space. I'll be back when I'm ready. Please stop trying to contact me. Hit send. The responses came immediately. Mom. Where are you? Dad. This is unacceptable. Vivian. You owe us an explanation? Ethan. Thank God you're okay. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I sent one more message. You wanted perfect photos. They'll look better without me. Then I turned my phone off completely. Not just airplane mode. Completely off. And I sat on the porch and felt nothing but peace. I stayed at the cabin until Tuesday, extended my reservation, told my boss I had a family emergency and needed a few personal days. He approved it without question. Those extra days were the most peaceful I'd had in years. No family drama, no messages, no expectations, just me and the river and the woods and the silence. But I couldn't stay forever. Tuesday afternoon, I packed up, cleaned the cabin, checked out, drove back to the city, turned my phone on somewhere around the 2-hour mark when I knew I'd need GPS for the last leg of the journey. The messages started flooding in immediately, but the tone had changed. Sunday had been panic, Monday had been anger, Tuesday was something else. Mom, we need to talk. All of us. Please come to dinner Sunday. Ethan, can we meet? Just you and me. I want to explain. Madison, Ethan's been miserable. Whatever happened between you two, I think you should try to work it out. And surprisingly, Vivian, I'm sorry. Just that. 2 words. From my sister who'd called me aesthetically unpleasing, who'd said I'd ruin wedding photos, who'd made it clear she thought I was the ugly sibling. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do with that. When I got home, there was a package outside my apartment door. No return address. Just my name written in familiar handwriting. Ethan's handwriting. I brought it inside, opened it carefully. Inside was a photo, a single 8x10 print. It was from Ethan's wedding. A family photo. The formal one with Mom, Dad, Vivian, Ethan, and Madison. But something was different. Someone had photoshopped me into it. Not expertly. You could tell it was edited if you looked closely. The lighting didn't quite match. My pose was slightly off. But I was there, in the front row, next to Ethan, looking like I belonged. There was a note attached. This is what the photo should have looked like. I'm sorry it doesn't. I'm sorry I let Mom convince me that aesthetics mattered more than family. I'm sorry I didn't fight for you to be there. You deserved better. You've always deserved better. I don't know how to fix what happened, but I want to try. If you will let me. E. I stared at that photo for a long time. Looked at my photoshopped face, the version of me that fit into the perfect family picture. And I realized something. I didn't want to be photoshopped into my family. Didn't want to be edited and adjusted and made palatable. I wanted to be accepted as I was. Or not at all. I put the photo face down on my counter, and I didn't call Ethan back. Not that day. Maybe not ever. Sunday came. The family dinner Mom had requested. I didn't go. Sent a text instead. I'm not ready yet. Mom, when will you be ready? Me? I don't know. Mom, we need to talk about this as a family. Me? You made it clear I'm not part of the aesthetic. I'm just respecting your wishes. Mom, that's not what we meant. Me? Then what did you mean? No response. I sat in my apartment, knowing they were all gathering at Mom and Dad's house, knowing there was an empty chair at the table, knowing they were probably talking about me, about how to fix this, about whose fault it was. Let them talk. Later, Ethan texted, We're all here. They're asking about you. Me. I'm sure they are. Ethan. I told them what happened. Everything. Madison backed me up. Mom's pretty upset. Me. Good. Ethan. That's it? Good? Me. She should be upset. What she said was horrible. Ethan. She wants to apologize. Me. I don't want her apology. Ethan. What do you want? I thought about that for a long time. Stared at my phone. Tried to figure out what would actually make this better. What did I want? An explanation? A promise it wouldn't happen again? A guarantee that I'd never again be told I wasn't good enough to be seen? But I couldn't trust any of those promises, because they'd been breaking promises my whole life. Subtle ones, quiet ones. The promise that family means belonging. The promise that you're loved unconditionally. They'd loved me conditionally, on the condition I stayed in the background, on the condition I didn't demand too much attention, on the condition I made their photos look better by not being in them. Me? I want them to understand that what they did wasn't just about photos. It was about telling me I'm not good enough, that I've never been good enough, and I can't forgive that until they understand it. Ethan. I'll tell them. Me. Don't. I'm not coming to family dinners until they figure it out themselves. Ethan. How long? Me. As long as it takes. Days turned into weeks. I established a new routine. Work, gym, hobbies I'd neglected for years. I joined a book club, started taking photography classes. Ironic, considering the source of my family drama, but I'd always liked photography. Just never pursued it, because what was the point when I was always the one being excluded from photos? Now I was the one behind the camera, controlling the frame, deciding what mattered and what didn't. It felt powerful. My instructor, a woman named Sarah, who'd been doing professional photography for 20 years, looked at my work one day and said, "You have a good eye for capturing authentic moments. Not the staged stuff, the real stuff." "Thanks," I said. "Have you ever done family portraits?" I laughed. Couldn't help it. Not exactly. "You should. People need photographers who can make them feel comfortable, who can see beyond the surface." I didn't tell her about my family, about being told I ruined the aesthetic, but her words stuck with me. See beyond the surface. That's what my family had never done. They'd only ever seen surfaces, appearances. What looked good in photos instead of what felt good in life. Weeks passed. I didn't go to family dinners, didn't respond to group texts, didn't show up for birthdays or holidays, lived my life like an orphan, except I'd chosen it. And slowly, surprisingly, I started to feel happy. Not the fake happiness of pretending everything was fine, real happiness. The kind that comes from living authentically, from not contorting yourself to fit into spaces that don't want you. Ethan tried the hardest, sent regular texts, invited me to things that didn't involve the rest of the family. Coffee, lunch, a basketball game. I didn't respond at first, but after a month, curiosity got the better of me. Me? Coffee? Just us? Ethan? Just us, I promise. We met at a cafe downtown, neutral territory. He looked tired, like he hadn't been sleeping well. "Thanks for coming," he said. "Don't thank me yet. I might leave." Fair. We ordered. Sat in uncomfortable silence for a while. "Madison's pissed at Mom," Ethan said finally. "Won't talk to her. Says she can't respect someone who treats their kids like that." Good for Madison. Dad's trying to smooth things over. Keep the peace? Same as always. Also not surprising. "Vivian?" He hesitated. "Vivian's actually been defending you." That surprised me. "Really?" "Yeah. Said she didn't realize how bad it was until she saw everyone's reaction. Until she saw how many people at the wedding were asking about you, how obvious it was that something was wrong. So she's sorry because people noticed. She's sorry because she hurt you. Same thing." "It's not, actually." I took a sip of my coffee. Didn't respond. "I'm sorry too," Ethan said. "For all of it. For not asking you to be a groomsman. For letting Mom make those comments about the photos. For not realizing how much damage we were doing." "Okay." "Just okay? What do you want me to say?" "I want you to say you forgive me." "I don't." He flinched like I'd hit him. "Not yet anyway," I added. "Maybe someday, but not yet." "What can I do?" "Nothing. This isn't something you can fix with an apology. It's not one incident. It's 28 years of being made to feel like I'm not good enough." "You are good enough." "Then why wasn't I in your wedding party?" He didn't have an answer. "That's what I thought," I said. We sat in silence for a while longer. "I miss you," Ethan said quietly. "I know I don't have the right to miss you, but I do." "You could have missed me at your wedding." Noticed I wasn't there before the ceremony started. I did notice. But you let it happen anyway. Yeah, he admitted. I did. So you miss me now. Great. But when it mattered, you were okay with me being gone. He couldn't argue with that. I finished my coffee, stood up. Thanks for this, I said, but I need to go. Can we do this again? Maybe. When? When I'm ready. I left him sitting there. It hurt, but it felt necessary. 6 months later, I got a text from Mom, not begging me to come to dinner, not asking when I'd be ready to talk, just, I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time. Then, I know I hurt you. I know I made you feel like you weren't good enough, and I'm sorry. I was wrong. You've always been good enough. More than good enough. I just couldn't see it because I was too worried about how things looked instead of how they felt. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know that I see it now. I see what I did, and I'm sorry. I read it 3 times, waited a day before responding. Me. Thank you. Mom. Does this mean you'll come to dinner? Me. Not yet. Mom. Okay. She didn't push, didn't guilt trip, didn't try to convince me, just, okay. A week later, Vivian sent me a photo. It was from a family dinner. Mom, Dad, Ethan, Madison, Vivian. They were all holding up a sign that said, "We miss Michael." Vivian. This doesn't fix anything, but we want you to know we're thinking about you. I showed the photo to a friend, one of the few people I'd told about everything. Are you going to respond? She asked. I don't know. Do you miss them? I thought about it. Parts of them. Which parts? The parts that might actually change. Do you think they will? I don't know. Maybe. And if they don't? Then I'll be okay without them. She nodded. You would be? Yeah, I said. I would be. A year after the wedding, I finally went to a family dinner. Not because I'd forgiven them, not because everything was fixed, but because I was ready to see if things could be different. Mom opened the door, saw me standing there. Her face crumpled. Michael. Hi, Mom. You came? I came. She hugged me. I let her. Inside, everyone else was already seated. Ethan and Madison, Vivian, Dad. They all looked up when I walked in. Nobody said anything for a long moment. Then Ethan stood, walked over, hugged me tight. I'm glad you're here, he said. Me too. We sat down, had dinner, talked about safe topics, work, weather, a movie Vivian had seen. Nobody brought up the wedding. Nobody apologized again. But when Mom brought out dessert, she paused. Michael, I want you to know something. Everyone got quiet. I removed all the photos from the living room, the ones that didn't include you, or that had you in the background. I'm having new ones done, of all of us, together, equal, because that's what family should look like. I looked at her, saw genuine remorse in her eyes. Thank you, I said. It's not enough. I know that. But it's a start. It is a start. After dinner, Vivian pulled me aside. I'm really sorry, she said, for what I said, for how I acted, for not seeing how badly we were treating you. I know. Do you forgive me? I'm working on it. She nodded. That's fair. As I was leaving, Ethan walked me to my car. I'm glad you came, he said. Me too. Think you'll come back? Maybe, if I'm invited. You're always invited. You were always invited. I'm sorry it took me so long to make that clear. Yeah, I said. Me too. I drove home that night feeling lighter than I had in months. Not fixed, not healed, but better. Sometimes that's enough. 2 years after the wedding, Ethan and Madison had a baby, a boy. They named him after Madison's grandfather. Ethan sent me a photo from the hospital. Want to meet your nephew? I went the next day. Met the tiny human who looked nothing like either of his parents yet, and everything like both of them somehow. Want to hold him? Madison asked. Sure. She placed the baby in my arms. He was warm and small, and made little squeaking noises. We want you to be his godfather, Ethan said. I looked up, surprised. Really? Really, if you want to be. I looked down at the baby, at this new person who didn't know about family drama or wedding photos or aesthetic preferences, who just knew he was being held, safe, loved. I want to be, I said. Good. Later, when we were taking photos, because of course we were taking photos, Mom started arranging everyone. Ethan here, Madison there, let me hold the baby. Mom, Ethan interrupted. Michael's the godfather. He should be in the center. Mom stopped, looked at me. Of course. Michael, you stand here. She positioned me next to Madison, holding the baby. Ethan on Madison's other side, Mom and Dad flanking us. When the photographer showed us the preview, I saw it. Me, front and center, holding my nephew. Visible, present, belonging. Mom saw me looking. That's a good photo, she said quietly. That's how it should be. Yeah, I said, it is. I'm not going to tell you everything's perfect now. It's not. There are still moments where I feel like the odd one out. Still family gatherings where I catch myself standing in the background. But the difference is, now I choose it. I choose when to engage, when to step back, when to be present, and when to protect myself. I'm not the family fixer anymore, not the person who shows up no matter what. I'm just me. And sometimes I'm in the photos, and sometimes I'm not. But it's my choice now, and that makes all the difference. The end.